We have some drama over there in LA. They just got swept by the Milwaukee Brewers, but the management is saying nay, no more. They want to make some blockbuster deals at this year's MLB trade deadline. What's up, everybody? Welcome in to Bad for Baseball, the baddest baseball podcast on the internet, presented to you by Betway. I'm your host, Nicholas Playlock, joined alongside by Adam Peddle. As we inch closer to that trade deadline, we are going to be diving into all the latest rumors, reports, and today we gotta talk LA Dodgers. Scariest team in all of baseball. Recently, not so much. Since the beginning of June, the Dodgers have a record of 22-20. Dodgers fans, if you're watching right now, please let us know in the comments down below how you're feeling about this right now. Quick hits from you, Adam. How are you feeling looking at the LA Dodgers actually coming back to earth here?
Man, we made a podcast when they first started scuffling, and, probably a bit of an over-exaggeration because everybody goes through scuffles. But when you look at the sample size of 42 games in the dog days of summer we're getting into now, and you have a 22-20 record, only 2 games above 500, that's not like a dominant team that we saw last year or the previous years. I mean, hell, I was kind of joking around before this. We're Toronto Blue Jay fans. We have the same record as the LA Dodgers, and we're not even in the same stratosphere as terms of the guys on the roster. And obviously there's a ton of underperformances you've got. I mean, mainly looking at the starting pitching that's been hurt all year, and it's been kind of bad when they've had guys come up and try to replace those high-level guys. The bullpen, which we're going to get into in this podcast. And then you got guys like just Mookie Betts, little wrinkle right here, just not being Mookie, right? And OPS is 684. So, the offense has gotten cold at times, and it doesn't help that your bullpen is one of the worst in all of baseball.
100%, man. I just want to, before we get into the bullpen, circle back to the fact, you brought up the Blue Jays having the same record as the Dodgers. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that Milwaukee has a one-game better record than the Dodgers, and when you just consider overall payroll right there,
I know.
Insane stuff.
Yeah.
Either way, one thing that Milwaukee is really good at doing is building a strong pitching foundation. And right now, the LA Dodgers just simply don't have that. We brought up the starting pitching, but that bullpen, what effectively won them the World Series last year, maybe that's an exaggeration, but what was a major component in allowing them to make it through all of October, that elite bullpen, has genuinely fallen off a bit of a cliff here. 24th in ERA, 21st in WHIP. They need some help, and apparently that is what they're going to be looking at just across the board come trade deadline time.
Yeah, and you look at the bullpen too, and they've got guys that you really right? Tanner Scott, Alex Villas, Kirby Yates, Anthony Bonda, right? There's guys in there.
These are names, man,
that you absolutely trust. But again, just like their starting pitching staff, I mean, you can see it right there. They've been riddled by injuries. Blake Treinen, Evan Phelps, Michael Kopech, Michael Grove, Gratterall, which always sounds like a medicine I have when I have stomach pains. That is a bullpen that is very injured, and they're going to be looking to get some, and that's where the rumor comes in right here. Dodgers are pursuing high-end bullpen upgrades. I mean, this should be nothing new if you're a Dodgers fan. This should be nothing new if you're a baseball fan. The Dodgers will go out and they will go get big level arms, and this is per Bob Nightingale. They're going to be looking to go after guys like Emmanuel Clase, one of the best closers in all of baseball. David Bednar, been a solid closer for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Ryan Helsley, Felix Bautista, and even Johan Duran, who's up there in the top 3, I'd say, in closers in all of baseball. Man, they might do it again, and they're going to trade top prospects to try and fix this team.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one thing to look, and I'm looking at getting Shohei Ohtani. That would be great.
Yeah, me too.
But you need to have some actual genuine interest coming from the other side of things. Emmanuel Clase's name has been thrown around a bunch recently, just because he is that guy over there, and Cleveland's not doing very well. Now, a couple days ago, Cleveland came out and was like, "Hey, we are okay with a trade almost everybody on this roster, but Emmanuel Clase, Jose Ramirez, and I believe it was
Kate Smith.
Kate Smith. There was one other guy in there as well. Those guys are off limits." That's not necessarily the case anymore. The Guardians now are listening to offers on Emmanuel Clase and Kate Smith. So, honestly, I think, looking at this from an outsider standpoint, I think that what they said, what they released a couple days ago, was more of a kind of bargaining tactic.
Absolutely.
Chip being like, hey, we're not trading these guys.
Absolutely.
but like we'll listen to
Dude,
offers.
100%. And I always hate it when people are like, man, like this guy, they'll never trade this guy, or this guy's off the table. They're always going to say that. They're literally always going to say that. I remember when, again, Blue Jays perspective, I remember when Jose Barrios was traded to us. The Twins were like, we're not trading this guy.
Exactly,
We got control of this guy. There's no way. But the reason why, like you're saying, it's a bargaining tool, like, hell, now I got to get people to offer me more for these guys, which is what realistically, like, if I'm a team, if you're going to go above and beyond and get these guys, well, then, yeah, I have no choice but to, especially if I'm a small market team like the Guardians, I've got no choice but to offer it.
And honestly, going above and beyond is the only way that you would end up getting somebody like an Emmanuel Clase, Cade Smith.
Yes.
Looking over at what they've done this season, it's not the best season ever for Clase, but, I mean, the bar is just set so unbelievably high. It's tough to meet that bar every year. This is still a solid season from the guy with a 2.96 ERA, or 2.86 ERA right there. Tough for me to see. A solid whip, innings 44. Looking over at Cade Smith, very similar numbers this season as well. He's a free agent in 2030, so that would cost a lot. If you're the LA Dodgers, like, be prepared to give up a decent chunk here. If you're going to get Cade Smith, Emmanuel Clase, like if you're going to get both of them, that's a ton. If you're even going to get one of them, like 2030 for a reliever who's got a 2.38 ERA on his career so far, that will be one of your top prospects. But I think if you're the LA Dodgers, like looking at where your team is, it's all about winning World Series right now. The bullpen was so key, so strong for you last year. It's not that way anymore. No. You got to fix this.
Yeah, like, and obviously getting a couple guys is going to fix everything. You do need to get some guys back from that injured list to go and play and be healthy, but they need to get there in the first place. I mean, you got the Padres kind of like barking up their butts right now, 3.5 games back, and you don't want to lose and go to the wild card series and fighting a 3-game series, because we all know some of the best teams get knocked out in 3-game series, and it's just, okay, well, it's over like that. They need to control their own destiny, and they got to win that division to hopefully get into the dance immediately with that bye. Now, there's another guy that they could potentially convince the Twins to move, and that is Johan Duran. Again, another guy that the Twins have been like, we're not trading this dude at all. But if the Dodgers come with some top prospects, this would be a huge piece. This guy's a free agent until 2028. We talk about Emmanuel Clase being one of the best closers. Man, Johan Duran has been one of the best. This guy could throw consistently 100 miles per hour with a sub-2 ERA this year, and like he hasn't gotten many save opportunities just because the Twins haven't had many opportunities. This is a dude that I think, and every analyst out there has been kind of linking Duran to the Dodgers. Like that feels like a Dodger. That feels like the sex move right there. Like that's the star that you want to go to LA.
And I'll tell you what, man, I know that just getting one bullpen guy doesn't always do everything, but when it's a bullpen guy like this, it actually does change. It changes a whole lot, because this is somebody that you can. I mean, he'd immediately come in and probably be the closer there for you, but then that frees you up to then maybe move Tanner Scott, and when it's like you need to put a fire out, okay, you're doing that because we're up against the top part of the line. It just frees you up so much more right there. And Duran is somebody who you could roll him in there, bases juiced, nobody out, and I still believe that he'd be able to get out of it in a solid capacity. So that right now is what's happening with those Dodgers, with the bullpen arms. If they're interested in trading for potentially some hitters, though, looks like the Orioles right now are embracing their identity, their newfound identity as being sellers, and they could be one of the biggest sellers this deadline for sure.
Yeah, and this makes a lot of sense. Elias comes out here and says that the Orioles, the trade talks are mainly focused on players towards the end of their contracts, and again, that makes sense because their team isn't completely gone and washed. You still got Adley. I mean, 2 back-to-back years of bad. Is he going to bounce back? You still got Gunnar. You're hoping for Jackson Holiday breakout. There's still guys there, and you have a lot of injured young pitchers on that team. Like, you got to get them healthy. So this year, you got to just shred some contracts and hope you get some new guys coming up. And these are some of the contracts that are coming up. Now, there's a lot of guys who are underperforming that might not command a lot, like Zach Eflin, Charlie Morton. Sugana at one point was looking like a juicy piece. He's been falling off recently. But you got to trade him. You got to hope you get something, get anything back, because they will inevitably walk at the end of the season. But I think the most interesting piece, if we're talking about bullpen guys, would be that Felix Bautista. By far. Even though he's got 2 more years of control, man, like that guy, if you want to talk about sex appeal as well, like that guy going to the Dodgers would be absolutely disgusting.
Well, and again, it's all about how much is Baltimore willing to sell off. If I'm them, it's got to be a cautious buy because, again, speaking from Toronto Blue Jays perspective, last year we were terrible. This year we're very, very good. I could see something very similar happening with those Baltimore Orioles where it's like, oh, okay, this is just one of those crazy fluky years where, we got hit with some injuries, shit hit the fan, and now next year we're going to be really, really good again. So maybe they want to hold on to Felix Bautista for that potential, scenario happening. However, if LA is on the phone and they're offering you up, an MLB-ready player, and then on top of that, one of their top prospects for this bullpen arm who has got 2 more years of control after this year, I think that you got to start listening if you're Baltimore.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just one more final thing here for me is the biggest piece that they're going to have to trade that's like, that's coming up. It's clear they're going to trade him because he's going to expire in 2026, his contract, is Ryan O'Hearn. This guy has been on fire all season. If anybody needs an outfield bat, this is your guy. He's him, and for my opinion, him and Eugenio Suarez are like the two kind of pieces. Eugenio's like a tier above him.
He's a tier above,
because just how many stupid amount of home runs he's got
35,
this season.
man.
35. Dude, Big Dumper better watch out.
I know.
This guy's coming from in just terms of general MLB. But yeah, Ryan O'Hearn is kind of that next guy up. He still smacks a lot of homers, gets on base for a high clip, and hits for a high average and slug. So yeah, that's the guy I'd be looking at for another piece. If you can't get Eugenio, you got to get Ryan O'Hearn.
But it looks like the bullpen market is shaping up here, folks, and the LA Dodgers could be the biggest buyers when it comes to those relief pitchers. You guys let us know in the comments down below. What do you think about everything that we talked about here? Please be sure to hit that like, smash the subscribe button, and of course, hop onto Betway if you want to make any of your baseball betting needs. What do you got for us?
Yeah, if you want to pick the LA Dodgers to still win the division, your money might not be that good. It's only 1.05 times the multiplier. So if you bet $100, you'd only win 5 back. Again, Padres 3.5 games back. That's not too far. I like the Padres number, which is 8.5 times your money. Like, it's still July. They could make some splashes at the deadline. They could get hot at the right time. I think I'm riding there.
Okay,
honestly.
well, Dodgers fans, you let us know in the comments down below why he is wrong with that selection. However, I will admit the odds are definitely
odds are in your favor.
Yeah, 100%, folks. But like I said, hit that like, smash the subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
Cheers.